Welcome back, guys. How we doing? We are going to broach a topic again today that I have talked about in the past, but it's coming up again for me personally with some collections I recently have purchased. So I thought it would be a good idea to go through this topic again and just remind everybody that when you're out there buying collections with the intent to either collect it for yourself and hold long term, or to buy a collection to piece out and resell, whatever your goal is, you always want to make sure you're paying the appropriate price, or at least a price you're comfortable paying, but you have to have data that is accurate to what the true market value of items are. Now, some of you who've watched my videos in the past might already know that I'm going to start talking about the Collectr app here and how oftentimes, especially on graded or sealed or Japanese singles, they have very inaccurate prices. Yes, raw English cards, they can have very inaccurate prices as well, and you just need to be very careful. The more money you're spending on a collection, the more you want to make sure that the data you're using to make sure you pay the correct price is accurate. So for example, I just bought a collection 2 nights ago that was a mix between sealed English singles and Japanese singles. Now, a lot of times I try not to buy a ton of Japanese singles because they do typically take longer to sell, but my Japanese inventory is getting a little low, and usually the more type of Japanese cards, actually any type, whether it's English cards, Japanese cards, sealed collections, whatever it is that you're selling, the more of that unique type of item you have, the more likely all of your items are to sell, because someone's going to go in and see, oh, I need this card, and they've also got this card that I want, and oh, here's 2 more that I want. The more cards you have, the more items you have that the buyer can search through and look for other things that they need, the more likely they are to click that purchase button. So because my Japanese cards were getting a little low, I thought I'll buy these Japanese sets, even though I typically try to kind of avoid them when I'm buying collections. Again, just because the velocity of those selling is not the greatest. But going off on a little tangent here, this particular seller, like many of the sellers out there, have a Collectr link that they can share, so you can see all the items they have that they're trying to sell. They can put conditions on them if they actually take the time to do it appropriately. And it makes it a lot easier for both you as the seller and the buyer to work things out and figure out a good price. With the caveat being, you got to double check those prices on Collectr, especially on those bigger items. So when I was going through the list, it was about $950 worth of items in this collection between the singles and the sealed, and I started double checking some of them because I could tell right away there were a few that were mispriced for sure, and I couldn't tell if it was kind of across the board or if it was just a few here and there. And it wasn't a huge collection, so I did end up taking the time to check prices on every single item, and the $950 Collectr value that it was showing was actually closer to about $850, $860, and doesn't sound like a huge deal, but that's about what, a 10% difference in value, going from $950 down to, you know, the mid to upper eights. That can really make a big difference when you're working in an industry, when you're doing reselling like I'm doing, and you generally have relatively small margins when you account for shipping and fees and material costs, all that stuff. 10% can make a big difference to cover all of your costs, fees, all of that fun stuff, and also be worth your time and effort to putting the work in to buy these big collections, list them all online or haul them off to a show, get your sales, and find out that you only made break even or barely over break even. So it's just very important the more collections you buy, the more diligent you need to be about making sure that those collector links are accurate. So that's just one example. There's another collection that I bought about 3 months ago where a very similar thing happened. It was about a $5,000 collection on the Collectr app, and yet again, it was about a 10% difference. It was actually a little bit more than 10% off. Collectr showed that this collection, this one happened to be almost entirely sealed product. Again, Collectr showed, I think it was just above $5,000, like $5,100. But when I went through TCG Player and I went through eBay and just kind of tried to, I usually use TCG Player as my reference, but in this case I did look at eBay a little bit, and come to find out it was really closer to about $4,400, $4,300 worth of items. So I think it was $4,400. So about $600 less than what the Collectr list said it was worth is what TCG values were. And upon further inspection, a lot of those items were falling in value pretty quickly at the time, which is one of the inherent issues with Collectr. It just doesn't update as quickly often enough with quickly changing prices. So especially on falling items, I have found that it's often showing way more pricing value than it should. So one more example, going back to the first collection I was talking about, specifically the Japanese cards in that collection. It was only about $50 worth of true value after I looked everything up, but Collectr was showing about $70, $75 actually, because it was overstating values by about 50%. So yeah, it's not a huge number in that case because it wasn't a huge dollar amount that I was beginning with, but if you were to go out there and buy a whole collection of Japanese cards and you overpaid by 50%, you're losing a lot of money on that deal. So just be diligent out there, guys. If you are out there trying to buy big bulk collections so that you can be the one to do the work to piece them out, sell them on eBay, sell them at shows, sell them on Facebook Marketplace, whatever it may be, just make sure you take the time to double check what those Collectr apps are showing you. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. This isn't going to be a super long video. Again, I just want to kind of get one recorded and posted quickly, but if you have any questions, post them down in the comment section below. If you find value in my content, please consider subscribing, liking this video, and just interact with me. Comment with me down on all the videos. I like going back and forth with everyone. Just don't act like a Yahoo, and let's have a good conversation, ask good questions, and I will do my best to reply and help you out whenever I can. So as always, guys, check out the affiliate links as well in the description if you're looking for another way you can support me. You can see all the products that I use in there for my eBay selling. I have a few of my vending things as well. And if you click in there, check stuff out, even if you don't buy any of those things, you could go to Amazon and buy other things off your list. I'll still get credit. At least that's what I've learned recently. Someone recently went into my affiliate link, clicked on my number 6 envelope boxes that I recommend purchasing. They didn't even buy it, but I can see they clicked that link and they bought like $1,000 worth of other stuff, and I got credit on my affiliate link for those $1,000 worth of other items that they bought that I didn't even have listed on my recommendations. So that's a really easy way for you guys to support me if that's something you're interested in doing. I would really appreciate that. And again, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, we'll see you guys next time. God bless.